That is a T-stand, and that is a super fabulous exercise for building strength in the hamstrings, working on our overall mobility, and absolutely building balance. But it can be a pretty challenging exercise when you're just getting started. So we're going to go through a few different progressions so that you can work your way up to finding the exercise variation or the T-stand variation that works for you. The first progression we're going to do is taking our hand down to a chair or a high surface, and then we're going to work our way down to a lower surface. But what we do first is we have one hand on the hip, and the other hand is going to reach for the chair. So as you reach over, and remember, these are called T-stands, so you are working towards finding this shape of a T with your upper body and aerial leg or lifted leg, and then you come up. And then you work on the other side. So another thing that's really interesting about working on this exercise slowly and progressively is that one side might be easier than the other. One side might be more balanced than the other. And it doesn't mean anything's wrong with you. It means you're a human being and you've taken on this super fabulous exercise to work on those imbalances. So if you are able to, and test it for yourself, bring your fingertips down to the chair or the couch or the counter, what would be the next progression? Well, the next progression could be to bring your palm down to the counter. That makes you go a little bit farther and then come up, right? Now, you might need to work on that for a while until you get your bearings, until you build some strength, mobility, and balance in your body. But if that's going well, and it will go well if you keep working on it, then you change the chair out and you bring yourself down to, let's say, a yoga block. So what we've done is that we've gone from a high counter or a high surface to a lower surface. And of course, there's lots of progression in between. Remember, when it comes to your body and getting stronger in your own time, is that you want to progress slowly and effectively. And you don't want to jump ahead to the harder one until you're proficient in the easier one. And sometimes it takes a week, sometimes it takes a month, sometimes you stay with that depending on the body you woke up in today. But if you're ready for the next level, what you do is one hand's on the hip, you have a micro bend on the standing leg, and you bring your fingertips over to that yoga block or that box or that low stool. And then you come up and then you switch sides. Now, if that's going well, you can do two things. You can either lower the yoga blocks, so now it is a lower movement, so it's a little bit lower, but it changes everything and it really gets to that top of the hamstring where we need to build some strength and mobility. Now, if that's going well, you have two choices. You can work on taking your fingertips to the floor, and for some of us, that will be perfect. That'll be a great optimal range of motion for us to bring our fingertips to the floor. I'm going to show you what that looks like. Now, this does not mean you're enlightened by any means. I wish it was, because that means I'd be enlightened. But it does mean you have this big range of motion. But this is when individualizing your program comes in. Some of us are not going to be able to get our fingertips to the floor. And we're going to stay with bringing our fingertips to a yoga block or to a higher yoga block or to a chair. Because your optimum range of motion, the range of motion that you work the exercise in, doesn't need to be your maximum range of motion. It needs to be a range of motion that's useful and usable for you. So try those three progressions: to the chair, to a high yoga block, to a low yoga block, or to the floor. And then, once you are capable and proficient in the exercise, you can add a load. So a load can be as simple as wearing a wrist weight, as I'm wearing on my wrist, or holding onto a weight. And of course, I'm going to encourage you to start with a lighter weight to make sure you're proficient in the exercise. Because the rule of all of our classes and all of our programs is that we don't add a load, we don't increase the resistance in an exercise until we're proficient in the exercise. So let's say coming to the high yoga blocks is just right for your range of motion, for your body, and you want to work on a little bit more strength. You pick up a dumbbell a light one to start, because you could always move up, and you work on getting that weight, perhaps, to the yoga block. You can also work on getting that weight, perhaps, to a lower yoga block. And this is when individualizing your program and figuring out what works for you is super important. So now, how many should you do? I would love you to be able to work with this exercise to do alternate legs, about 10 to 12 each leg. So that means you're really doing 24, but think of it as 10 to 12 because it seems like less. And then once you're proficient at that, you can work on increasing the weight and or increasing your range of motion. The key is to progress slowly and to make sure the exercises work for you, because that's how exercise works, by making the exercises work for you.